Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are still on the chapter of classification. Hopefully, we'll be completing it today. Yesterday, we reached the plant kingdom. We're talking about the characteristics of members of the plant kingdom, right? So, general characteristics are that plant cells have a cell wall made of cellulose, and the cells contain chloroplasts with the photosynthetic pigment called chlorophyll, and that they, carry out the process of photosynthesis, which is how they make their own food. Right, and we're only concerned about knowing about two members of the plant kingdom, which are ferns and flowering plants. You can see members of the flowering plant category over here, right? Let's do an overview of ferns that we talked about yesterday. So they are land plants with well-developed structures. Their stems, leaves, and roots are very similar to those of flowering plants. The stem is usually completely below ground, right? And what we see growing above ground are just the leaves, and the roots grow from the stem. So the stem is also below ground, and obviously the roots are also below ground, right? The stems and leaves have sieve tubes and water conducting cells like those in the xylem and phloem of flowering plants. We'll cover that later in chapter 7. The leaves of ferns vary from one species to another, so we can see the different, like the leaves of different types of ferns over here in the illustration, figure 2.28.
Does the xylem, like you said, and phloem also include in the flowering plants?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
But we'll take a look at them and their function and structure and everything later on, right? But right now it's just a mention.
Okay.
The leaves are several cells thick. Most of them have an upper and lower epidermis, a layer of palisade cells and spongy mesophyll cells, similar to the leaves of flowering plants. Now, again, the structure of the leaf is something that will come in later, right? And so we'll take a look at these palisade cells and spongy mesophyll cells and the epidermis and everything. Okay. Then how do they reproduce? So they produce gametes, which are the reproductive cells. They don't have seeds. The zygote, which is what's formed after the male and female gamete combine, right, gives rise to the fern plant. The fern plant produces single-celled spores from many sporangia. So sporangia are spore capsules, and inside the sporangia are spores. Right, these are made on the leaves, on the underside of the leaf, depending exactly where on the underside depends on the species of fern. So the sporangia are usually arranged in compact groups, and we can see that in this image over here. This is the underside.
And what's zygote again?
It is the fusion of a male and female gamete. So the male and female reproductive cells, when they combine, that's what's called the zygote.
Oh, okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Right, and that's as much as you need to know about ferns. So moving on, are flowering plants. Now, there's not a lot, right? I don't know if I should say rest assured, but we will cover flowering plants, the structure and everything in a bit of detail later on. Excuse me. So chapter 16, right, when we talk about reproduction plants is when we talk about flowering plants. Depending on whether you like talking and knowing about plants, right, obviously that will affect how much you enjoy covering that chapter. So flowering plants reproduce by seeds that are formed in flowers. The seeds are enclosed in an ovary. The general structure of flowering plants is described in chapter 7. Examples are shown in figure 2.26, so that's the one right up here. So these are all examples of flowering plants. And you've got the monocots and the dicots. What are those? Right. Also, they've highlighted ovary. They haven't defined it. So again, that definition will come in later. So you need to wait. We will get to learn what the ovary is, right? What the spongy mesophyll cells are, what the xylem and phloem is. We'll get to know all of that.
Okay.
Okay. Flowering plants are divided into two subclasses, the monocotyledons and the dicotyledons, right? The monocotyledons, and as they say, you can say monocots for short, are flowering plants that have only one cotyledon on their seed, right? So again, what exactly is a cotyledon? We will come across that later in chapter 16, I believe, when we talk about the development of organisms. Also, if you're really curious, we can jump to the glossary and we can check it out over here.
Okay.
So you can see, scroll down over here.
Isn't the cotyledon written it? Like, is it
It's
it's
not,
written that
yeah, go ahead.
it's a embryonic leaf which often contains food stores.
Yeah, so that's why I jumped to the glossary. So if you're like curious about any of these terms that we haven't like discussed, we haven't talked about yet, we're just mentioning stuff. So the glossary is useful. Right now, again,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is mentioned in the earlier text that we just passed by.
it is. Did I miss it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Oh, okay. It's
Look, it's
given.
there.
Oh, it's given after that.
Yeah.
That's good. So you can check out other, the terms such as
Yeah.
ovary and everything.
Yeah.
So a cotyledon is an embryonic leaf which often contains food stores. Most but not all monocots have long, narrow leaves, right? So these kind of leaves that you see, these are monocotyls, right? And they have parallel veins, right, running the length of the leaf. The examples of these are grasses, daffodils, bluebells, right? They've got parallel veins. The dicots have two cotyledons in their seeds. Their leaves are usually broad, and the leaf veins form a branching network. So you have like a main vein coming in, and then a network of branch veins forms from the main vein, and the leaves tend to be broader as compared to the monocots. Okay, makes
Okay.
sense. So
Yeah.
here's a summary of the key features of mono and dicots: the leaf shape, the leaf veins, the cotyledons, and the grouping of flower parts, petals, sepals, and carpels. Again, this is something that will come in later. If you want to know, you can visit the glossary. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait. Right? So in the monocots,
Okay.
these guys come in group of threes, and in the dicots, they come in group of fives.
Okay.
Right. So as well as knowing the features used to place animals and plants into the appropriate kingdoms, you also need to know the main features of kingdom fungi, prokaryote, and protoctista. Let's take a look at these guys. So
Um,
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah,
In the dicot leaf,
yeah,
the what is that? Yeah, cotyledon, if I'm pronouncing it right.
yeah.
It has two seeds of it.
It has, so a cotyledon is an embryonic leaf which often contains, so a monocot has only one embryonic leaf. A dicot, right, has two.
Okay, so it says that in dicots it's in their seeds. So the inside the seeds there are leaves that contain food.
Yes, so this will, as I said, this will make more sense when we get to the chapter where we talk about reproduction in plants.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so moving on, the fungi kingdom. So most fungi are made up of thread-like hyphae. So this stuff, as you can see in the illustration, right? Rather than cells. So they don't have distinct cells. Now that doesn't make much sense because again we haven't covered chapter 1. Really, we should have started from chapter 1. Well, it is chapter 1 in the IGCSE book. So yeah, probably should have started from chapter 2. But anyways, we are here now. So right, they don't have distinct cells like plants or animals. They have these long thread-like structures, and they have nuclei throughout it, right? But because they don't look like typical cells, they're called hyphae or hypha, or like a singular, right? So there are many nuclei scattered throughout the cytoplasm in their hyphae. Right, so here's an example. Right, you have like this large vacuole, which is sort of like an empty space, not exactly. Right, you've got cytoplasm, which is like the jelly-like substance inside cells, in which contains everything else. It has a cell wall or a hyphal wall, right? And there are glycogen granules; those are energy stores. And then there are these like the sort of darker dots are nuclei, and you can see that they're like spread throughout, right? At intervals, maybe there's like more in one area, perhaps, right? And so there are no compartments as you would expect from a cell. So just to draw parallels between like what we're talking about, we go and take a look. Right, this is what cells would look like. So right, you can see that each cell is like an individual compartment.
Oh, okay.
Right, and each cell has like one nucleus.
So the
And
darker spots are mitochondria?
what?
Over there?
Uh,
Mitochondria?
yeah. So the large dark circle is the nucleus, and they're like identifying mitochondria. They're like there's lots of other stuff going on. So over here in this one, mitochondria is one thing that they've identified. Right?
So no, I'm trying to figure out if the darker spots are the ones they're referring the mitochondria to.
In the fungus,
No, the one shown in the image right now. That I just showed.
I mean,
Previously.
they've labeled it as the mitochondria, so we're just going with that, right? They're saying these are mitochondria. Like, okay, fine. Mitochondria is something that it's an organelle that is in the cells, right? I mean, the reason I'm not stressing on it right now is because we could have labeled this to be something else and said, okay, fine, it's that, right? So they're just like
Okay, yeah.
maybe they're highlighting that okay, cells have mitochondria. That's the purpose. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, plant cells look like this. The green dots are chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll. You've got like this blob over here, the large blob, that's the nucleus. Right, the vacuole, which is the large, it's not empty but like large space, cytoplasm. Right, so the reason I'm showing this to you is when you take a look at the fungus, the hyphae, right? And so you see that it's not compartmentalized. It's got like a large vacuole, right? A continuous cell wall or hyphal wall, continuous cytoplasm. There are many nuclei that are spread throughout. So it's different, right? And so what it does is
This
that
is a structure of fungal hyphae. Okay.
hyphae.
Hyphae. Okay.
Hyphae is
Okay.
plural with the E. If you remove the E, it's hypha, which is singular.
Okay, what's that with the arrows like digested food and enzymes?
So they obviously don't have organs, right? What these guys do is they release their digestive organs outside onto the surface of whatever they're growing and what they want to eat. So they're growing on food, they're growing on plants, right? They're growing on dead organic matter, right?
Okay.
So right? They release the enzymes directly to the outside on what they're growing on, what they want to eat. It gets digested by the enzymes, and so then they take in the digested food directly, right? So they don't have like, oh, eat, chew, swallow, digestion, the stomach and intestine, and then it goes into the circulatory. They obviously don't have that mechanism, that
So
system.
they directly take in the digested food and then
Yeah,
release them through enzymes.
no, they release the enzymes onto the material that they're growing on. So you can see over here, for example, mildew on wheat, mildew, right? So this stuff is growing on a wheat plant,
Okay.
and what it will do, it will release enzymes. Obviously, you won't be able to see the enzymes, but it will release its enzymes directly onto the leaf. The leaf will, like the cells of the leaf, will get digested, and then it will absorb the digested material and use it as a nutrient source.
Oh, okay. It's like that one animal that throws its spit out to
The fly.
absorb the digestion.
The fly.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the house fly.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you understand the house fly, that's what the fungus is doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So if you like mushrooms, they're fungi.
What?
If you like to eat mushrooms, do you?
They're fungi?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Okay.
obviously, you're not eating all sorts of mushrooms, right? Only specific types. But yeah, I mean, in terms of classification, they're fungi. So the fungi include organisms such as mushrooms, toadstools, puffballs, and the bracket fungi that grow on. So this guy,
Your voice got cut off in between, so would you mind repeating that?
I was just reading this, right? So fungi include organisms such as mushrooms, toadstools, puffballs, and bracket fungi that grow on tree trunks. So these guys that you see in the image, this is a bracket fungus.
That is not a mushroom, that's a bracket fungus?
Yes.
That looks like a mushroom.
It's technically not a mushroom, right? So the brackets, as they say over here, the ones that you can see growing on the trunk, they are actually reproductive structures, right? The mycelium. So what is the mycelium? The mycelium is like a dense network of hyphae. So if this is like hyphae and this is also hyphae, right? Like if you spread your hands out, right, and you crisscross your fingers, so that crisscross network, that network of hyphae is called mycelium, right? So it's basically the same thing, mycelium and hyphae.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, what's happening over here is that the hyphae or the mycelium are growing inside the tree. They are eating the tree from the inside, and so if it dies from the inside, like obviously the whole tree will die, right?
Yeah.
So they look interesting, they are interesting, but they're also parasitic, so they're actually harming the tree.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are also the less obvious but very important mold fungi, which grow on stale bread, cheese, fruit, or other foods. I'm guessing you've come across these guys sometime, right? The stuff that starts growing on stale food, at least bread or fruits, if you ever come across.
Oh yeah, definitely bread.
Yeah, right. So that's mold fungi. So many of the mold fungi live in the soil or in dead wood. Right. Then you've heard of yeast. Yeast is used a lot in baking. Have you heard of it?
The yeast, yeah.
That's also fungi. That's single-celled fungi.
Oh, okay.
Right. They have some features similar to molds. Now, obviously, you're using it in baking. You put it in. So the yeast are active, and they help raise the dough because of reactions that we'll talk about later. We'll talk about that as well. And yeah, so right, you eat mushrooms that are fungi, you use fungi in baking, right? So they are useful as well, make use of other organisms. So some fungal species are parasites, right, such as the bracket fungus we talked about. So what is a parasite? A parasite is an organism living on another organism, gaining food and shelter from it. It is a one-sided relationship. So the parasite is benefiting from the host is being harmed by the parasite.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fungal parasites live in other organisms, particularly plants. There are few parasites that infect humans. There are, but they're few. Right? A lot of these, like most fungi, are saprophytes. What are saprophytes? That will come later as well. They basically feed on dead organic or material, right? So stuff that is no longer living. There are a lot of fungi that infect plants, as they're saying over here, right? So they cause disease that can affect crop plants, such as mildew, shown in figure 2.34. So this guy over here growing on a wheat plant, and we're done, right, with the fungi. Then you have any questions? It's like, right, there's not a lot to know again, right? So just reading from the text, it's just like, yeah, just stuff.
It says fungal parasites live in other organisms, particularly plants, where they cause diseases.
Yeah.
So, who's they? Is it talking about the
The
fungal
fungus,
or
the fungus, the
okay.
fungus is causing disease.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right now, the prokaryote kingdom. So this is basically talking about bacteria and blue-green algae. They consist of single cells, but are different from other single-celled organisms because their chromosomes are not in a nucleus. So obviously, this will make more sense. It's right. Bacteria cells are discussed in chapter 1 or chapter 2 in case of IGCSE. So we'll get there. All right. So basically, bacteria is what, and blue-green algae, right, are part of the prokaryote kingdom. And one thing, like one particular feature they have is that their genetic material. So we talked about genetic material. We talked about DNA, right? And it is not in a nucleus. So I showed you this, like these orange dots are the nucleus,
Yeah.
right? And so the genetic material of these guys are not inside a nucleus. Now, again, this will make more sense when we talk about the structure and features of cells. So again, because this is an introductory chapter, a lot of the things that they're telling you just need to like sort of keep in your head that okay, fine, they mentioned stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk about diseases later. We'll talk about the parts of the plant later. We'll talk about the structure of the leaf later. We'll talk about photosynthesis later. And just like this, we'll talk about what like bacteria later.
Wait. So more like it says that because your chromosomes are not organized into a nucleus. Are we gonna talk about how most of the other single celled organisms have their chromosomes organized in a nucleus?
Yes.
They do have organized
Yes.
chromosomes in their nucleus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then finally, we have the Protoctist kingdom. So these are single-celled or unicellular organisms, and they have their chromosomes enclosed in a nuclear membrane to form a nucleus. So just like we said, right? All members of the plant and animal kingdom also have their chromosomes organized in nuclei in the nucleus. As we saw in the fungus, they also have their chromosomes organized. So it's only members of the prokaryote kingdom that don't have a nucleus.
So do us humans also have our chromosomes organized?
Yeah. No, see,
Okay.
read the whole thing. It's not that the like the chromosome of a prokaryote is not organized. It's not organized into a nucleus.
So okay, so it does not have a nucleus.
It does not. So it does have chromosomes. The chromosomes are there. They're just not like inside a nucleus.
Oh, okay. So they're not properly shaped enough to form a nucleus in them.
No. So again, right after we're done with this chapter, we'll talk about cells, and at the end of that chapter, we'll talk about bacteria. So you see.
For now, no nucleus.
Yeah, just like no nucleus for prokaryote. Just keep that in mind. Out of the 5 kingdoms, kingdom prokaryote is the one that does not have a nucleus.
Oh, okay.
You just keep it simple.
Okay.
Right. So the Protoctists have chromosomes in like a nucleus, like in a nucleus. Right. Some examples are shown in figure 2.35. So let's scroll ahead. So these guys, the amoeba if you heard of the amoeba, right?
No.
That, right, is a protoctist, and then paramecium and vorticella, and these two guys, which I'm not going to pronounce, right? So they're different kinds of protoctists, right?
Okay.
Some are able to photosynthesize. So they're mentioning over here that these two guys, right? These two guys over here, they have chlorophyll, and so they're able to carry out photosynthesis, right? So they and these guys don't have chloroplast. They don't carry out photosynthesis, and so right, they depend on solid food to digest. Okay,
Okay.
so even among
So
protoc,
the amovia and paramecium use solid. They digest solid food.
yeah. So these three guys. I mean, these are obviously examples. There are many other protoctists,
Ah, okay.
right? These are just like 5 examples.
And the other two, they
They have chloroplast, so they're able to photosynthesize. So they're able to make their own
so they
food.
can make food on their own basically.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So some of the protoctists have chloroplast to make their own food. The protoctists are often referred to as unicellular organisms, like the amoeba and the paramecium. Take in and digest solid food, and so are animal-like in their feeding. They may be called unicellular animals. Okay. The
Okay.
amoeba is a protozoan. So right, they're also like just like within the animal kingdom, they were like the arthropods, right, and the vertebrates, and within arthropods, they were like the myropods and the insects and the crustaceans and everything. So that was like, because it was a kingdom, right? So it contained many different organisms within it. And so the kingdom Protoctista also has many different kinds of organisms. And they're mentioning, right, amoeba is a kind of organism that's called a protozoan,
Okay.
right? It moves by a flowing movement in its cytoplasm, right? So its cytoplasm sort of like flows inside of it, and that causes, like, it helps it to move around. It feeds
Uh,
by, yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Could you say that again? Like it flows
Like,
inside the cytoplasm?
no, right? So this guy, the amoeba,
Yeah.
the cytoplasm that's inside this cell, the
Yeah.
cytoplasm is moving,
Oh, okay.
right? So for example, if it wants to move towards the right, the cytoplasm will move towards the right, pushing the cell towards the right.
Oh, okay.
That's how it, because obviously it doesn't have any limbs, it doesn't have anything to move around with. So that's how it achieves motility
Oh, okay.
or mobility. Right? It feeds by picking up bacteria and other microscopic organisms as it moves, right? So it's feeding on other organisms as well. So yeah, right? It's like what we call, like, the jungle, but on a microscopic scale.
Okay, okay. Got it.
Right? Then you've got the vorticella. It has a stalk that can contract and feeds by making a current of water with its cilia. So those are tiny hair-like organelles which project from the cell surface. So is that given over here? You've got the vorticella. If you zoom in, I think you can kind of like see the cilia. So these guys, maybe if you can barely see it, like they've drawn something
The
like the hair-like
the
thing.
hairy kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So also over here on the paramecium, they've labeled it cilia. So these guys move, and they, right, because of their movement, the cell moves.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So right. So different organisms have different mechanisms of, going about.
Okay.
The current brings particles of food to the cell, right? So, uh, right, they're in the water, right, and right? It's moving and it's bringing particles of food to the cell. The euglena and the chlamydomonas, right, have chloroplasts in their cell, and so they're like plants. We just talked about that.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
and that's all you need to know about Protoctista.
Okay. Got it.
And finally, there's virus, and you can see there's not a lot to talk about, so we're just done with this chapter. Right, viruses. There are many different types of viruses, and they vary in their shape and structure. All viruses have a central core of RNA or DNA. So they've got genetic material inside of them, like over here. It could be RNA, it could be DNA. So there are two different types of genetic material, RNA or DNA. Which one the virus has depends on which virus we're talking about.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
genetic material is surrounded by a protein coat, right? So you can see over here, they've illustrated that with these blue guys. Okay, so there's the genetic
Okay.
material in the center. It's surrounded by a protein coat. The individual protein units are called capsomeres, right? And
Yeah.
and all of them put together, the coat as a whole is called the capsid.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So one thing to keep in mind is that there are a number of terminologies and stuff that you need to memorize. Definitely, there is memorization in biology, and you also need to be able to label diagrams, right? So if I give you a diagram of a virus particle, you should be able to label that, oh, there's genetic material in the center, and then this is the capsid, which is the protein coat, and these individual proteins are the capsomeres.
Basically, when you put the capsomeres together, them as a group is called capsid.
Capsid, like the whole coat, the whole surrounding wall or barrier or whatever you want to like understand it as, that's called the
Does the
capsid.
capsid also include the outer layer it has? Look, the white thing?
Uh, probably, yeah.
Okay, because I'm getting confused with the protein code and the capsomeres.
It
Okay.
probably does, right? The way they've illustrated that. Okay. So viruses don't have a nucleus, they don't have cytoplasm, they don't have any cell organelles, they don't have a cell membrane, right? Though some forms have a membrane outside. So this is something of a membrane, right? Outside the so possibly not part of the protein code. It's some right. This is just an example. This right other one as well, right, is maybe a membrane over the protein code, right? So
Okay.
yeah. So if you're talking about the protein coat, if you're just talking about the capsid, then let's keep it limited to right just these guys over here.
So
Right, you
the
can
blue stuff all together is called a protein code.
yes. So this white, spiky stuff as you called it,
Yeah.
right? They haven't labeled it, so
It will be known in the future chapters.
possibly I like they're mentioning that it's some sort of membrane.
Oh,
It's some
okay.
sort of membrane.
Okay.
Right? Virus particles are not cells because they don't have the features of a cell. They do not feed, respire, excrete, or grow, and it is arguable whether they can be classified as living organisms. Viruses do reproduce, but only inside the cells of other living organisms using materials provided by the host cell. So they're kind of like parasites, right? A generalized
Yeah.
virus particle is shown in figure 2.36. So that's this guy that we saw. The nucleic acid core is a coiled single strand of RNA with a protein coat. The protein coat is called a capsid, right? This over here, figure 2.37 is right. It's an example. It's the structure of the influenza virus, right? So you've got the coiled RNA strand inside, and the border, like the black border lines that you see over here, though, that's the protein coat, right? And so this thing all around, this circular spiky thing, right, that's probably the membrane. I'm not mentioning what the membrane is made up of, right? If it has any certain like specific properties, and so that means we don't need to know as far as the syllabus is concerned, right? So we don't need to worry. You can see they haven't even bothered labeling,
Okay.
right? But if you do get an illustration like this in your exam, whether it's in paper 1 or paper, like in your case, paper 2 or paper 4, right, for the IGCSE, or paper 1 or paper 2 in O level, excuse me.
Okay.
So you should, like, just don't get confused by this and don't worry about it, because they haven't labeled it in the textbook. They aren't talking about it. And so that's not something that you need to concern yourself with. You just need to be able to identify, okay, fine, this is a virus particle. That's all you need to be concerned about. Being
Okay.
able to correctly identify it.
Okay.
Right? And if they ask you to label it, you go like, okay, fine, that's, if they're talking about like a specific, like if they mention the influenza virus, you know it has RNA. If they, right, don't mention it, you can say RNA/DNA, right? Then you say protein coat and you're done. Right? And with that, we are done. All right, so we're done with this chapter. I don't know. I felt like it was a lot. I don't know how you felt. Hopefully, the explanation was clear. Hopefully, was it?
Yeah.
It's not a very confident yeah.
I mean, if I review it later and if questions come up, that's like
Oh yeah,
natural. But for now,
yeah, definitely, right? Obviously, right? Questions are welcome. In fact, you should be reading and asking questions. So the next time we will be doing chapter.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
In the influenza cell, it's uh, it's only RNA, right? Not a DNA.
Yeah. So it would be either RNA or DNA. There won't be both.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Right? You can see the or over here.
By the way, are rabies considered viruses?
I think so. Let me check. Is rabies caused by a virus? Yes, so rabies is caused by a virus. It is a viral disease.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So, and it is like virtually 100% fatal. So if infection occurs, like it's not just like the animal bit you, right? If the animal bit you, it might have the rabies virus, and so you need to get vaccinated immediately, right, without delay. If the virus is able to infect the cells, then right, it's pretty bad.
It's like zombies if came on a human, right?
I don't understand the analogy, like calling it a zombie, but I guess so.
I mean, it drives like whoever the subject is, like humans or animals, to bite.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there are similarities of zombies, but not exactly that.
Okay.
Okay then. Okay.
All right. So any other questions?
No.
Right. So next time we'll be starting with right, chapter 2 of the IGCSE, organization of the organism. Right. So the stuff I showed you earlier, chapter 1 in O level, we're going to talk about. So we'll finally talk about what the cell is. Right. We've been going like cell. Like what's the cell? We'll talk about the cell. You see bacteria. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll talk about stuff.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll see you next time, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay then. Allah Hafiz.
No.